History is who we are and why we are the way we are. Can we escape from the shame and blame of having a history of a genocide where indigenous children were put in residential school to destroy their culture and then buried in unmarked graves? Can we have any celebration looking at the graves of these innocent kids who should have been living under the love and care of their mom or dad or family, but buried as a no-name nobody away from the place they should have been? No way. But even during this sad and horrible discovery period, the indigenous people of Canada had a landmark achievement which should be written in golden letters as a part of the Indigenous history, and it became reality during this year's Indigenous History Month. During this month, the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People became a law in Canada. This requires the Government of Canada to make measures for bringing the country's law in alignment with the United Nations Declaration, as well as preparing and implementing an action plan for achieving its objectives. The Declaration recognizes and upholds the rights of Indigenous people to practice their cultures and tradition, to live free from violence and discrimination, and to maintain their unique relationship with the traditional territories. The Declaration affirms Indigenous people's inherent right to self-determination. This is the right to make own decisions based on their own values through their own governance institution. All these years, governments have failed to ensure Indigenous women and girls are safe from violence. Indigenous people face underfunding when it comes to their housing requirement or healthcare, which is underserved. Boil water advisories continue despite over 2 decades of nice words and commitments from various governments. Even after the discovery of hundreds of Indigenous children buried at residential school in the past weeks, the government is still fighting Indigenous kids in courts, challenging their right to adequate healthcare services instead of compensating these kids. Indigenous people continue to face disproportionate violence from police. They face discrimination when they apply for jobs, try to exercise their fishing rights, when trying to open a bank account, or even when they serve in Canada's parliament. Indigenous people, their families and communities deserve better. The United Nations Declaration must be used to reform Canadian laws and institutions that have been used to perpetuate discrimination against Indigenous people for over 150 years. Let us work together for a government which treats their citizens with dignity and respect and brings social justice to all. Thank you.